Hello everyone. In today's video, I will do 11 questions as part 1 to prepare you for your first test. 14 more questions will follow in the part 2 of the video. Let's get started. These questions are all over, so we don't see any sequence or something like that. So they are from any topic, okay? So let's start from number 1. Question number 1 says evaluate a function f of x is equal to x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 2. Okay, so this is a cubic function because it has exponents 3. However, that's not the main point now. When you are asked to evaluate a function, that means you basically substitute the given number into the function and then you will see the result. That's all. So if f of x is x cubed minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 2, what will be f of minus 2? So you can consider this function as a machine, and then what will be the output of this machine when you give to this machine negative 2? So all you have to do is now replace negative 2. Whenever you see x everywhere, replace negative 2 and calculate. So the first step is here, negative 2 as x, and then cubed minus 4 times negative 2 again, the whole square, plus 6 times negative 2 minus 2. Then after that, all you have to do is go ahead and then calculate. You have to be careful now. You have to follow the order of operation and other important things. Okay, so this is the next step. The first one is negative 2 the power of 3. So we know that this is add exponent, so the result is going to be negative because negative times negative is negative. So but 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times is 8. So this is negative 8 and then minus. Okay, so I have 4 and then the other bracket negative 2 square is this is even exponent, the result is going to be positive because negative 2 times negative 2 is going to be 4. Okay, this is 4 right here, plus times negative 2 is simply I will have this negative 12. Okay, negative 12, and then I have another negative 2. Okay, very good. So let's continue. So this will be negative 8. Okay, negative 4 times 4 is, because this is multiplication, remember this one is multiplication, negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. All right, negative 16. This is minus 12. All right, plus minus is minus, and then another minus 2 at the end. So finally, if you look at them, all of them are negative. All you have to do is add all these together. If you add negative 8, negative 16, negative 12, and negative 2, your answer is going to be negative 38. Okay, negative 38. So this is the answer. So this means that this machine will give me negative 38 if I give negative 2 as an input. So if this negative 2 is different than negative 2, f of x is something else, the answer will change as well. Let's continue to the second question. Okay, let's continue the second question. The second question is saying factor completely. Okay, this is saying factor completely. So to factor this expression, okay, to factor this expression, even though there are different techniques, for now I'm gonna show you the slide. All right, the slide and divide method, the slide and divide method, slide and divide method. Okay, the slide and divide method. But before going to the slide and divide method, even we have to factorize and simplify this first. Instead of dealing with these big numbers, okay, this is 8, this is 28, this is 16. I don't have to deal with these large numbers immediately. All I can do is I can simplify by using the GCF concept, okay, the greater common factor. So if I think about 8, 28, and 16, the greater common factor is just 4, okay? So I open parenthesis. So the next step is 8x squared divided by 4 is going to be 2x squared, because 4 times 2x squared is going to be 8x squared. Then minus 7x, then minus 4, because if I FOIL 4 with everything inside the bracket, it will give me back the original expression. Okay, now the next step is I have now 2x squared minus 7x minus 4 here. So let me come to the slide and divide method. So all I have to do is look at these two. Okay, I have to slide these two just to the front. I mean, I'm gonna bring it here just in front of 4, and then I will multiply with negative 4. So remember, in this step, I'm doing the slide. I'm sliding A. When I say slide, I'm sliding A. Keep this 4, no problem. All right, and then if you slide that, this will remain x squared minus 7x. When I slide 2, I will get negative 8, because negative 2 will multiply to negative 4. Okay, now remember, do not forget, do not, all right, forget the 2. Okay, do not forget the 2. That's very important part. Okay, because that will come to the divide step. So let me keep again 4 into, right? So as always, I know how to factorize this one inside the parentheses. I mean, this is now the small or the easy kind of quadratic expression. So as always, I'm gonna open two parentheses. Okay, we learned this many times. So this is gonna be x plus 1. All right, this is gonna be x minus 8. Why x plus 1 and x minus 8? Because the two numbers that can give me negative 8, when I multiply them, the product of 1 and negative 8 is negative 8. So the two numbers are 1 and negative 8. And then when I add them up, negative 8 plus 1 is going to be negative 7. So these are the two numbers, okay? But now, this is the thing. What about the two that I mentioned earlier? That comes now. So here I'm going to apply the divide step. Okay, the divide step. The divide step means I'm going to bring that 2 and then divide those numbers. Okay, divide by 2, divide by 2. Okay, that 2 is just these two. Okay, I don't have to throw it anywhere. The second question is now 4. Okay, open the parentheses. Now look at this carefully. When I divide the numbers to whatever number was at the front, okay, if they can divide, I will see the number and then write the number. If they can't, simply move them to the front. So 1 cannot divide to 2. At least I'm not gonna get the whole number. Well, 1 over 2 is 0.5, but that's not what I want. So I need the whole number. So, but since that's not possible, I'm gonna bring 2 to the front. So that means it's gonna be 2 to the front. It's gonna move up to that way, and then x, and then plus 1, like this. Okay. Okay, let's go now. X, but this one is different because 8 divided by 2 can give me a whole number. So that means I'm just gonna simplify it and then write 4. So finally, this will be my simplified version, or the completely factored form of the given expression. Okay, so anytime you can pause the video and then look at it carefully. Let's continue. Here we go. This question number 3 is asking me that to determine whether the given order pair is a solution of a given equation. Okay, so remember now, this is order pair. An order pair is something written like this in the form of x and y. Okay, every time if you see something like this, the first is x, the second one is y. So look at the given equation here. 4x plus 9y. All you have to do equal to 57. All you have to do is plug in this x in the x place and then this y in the y place, and then check if the whole statement becomes true. If the whole statement becomes true, that means I would say, yeah, yes, this is a solution. But if it is not true, that means it's not a solution. So all I have to do is go ahead and then open the parenthesis for x and then plug in 3 now, okay, in the place of x, plus, and then 9 you open in the place of y, you just go 5 is equal to 57. Let me check if this gives me 57. So 4 times the first one, 4 times 3 is how much? That is definitely 12, plus 9 times 5 is how much? Well, 9 times 5 is 45. 5. Okay, so this must be 57. So at the left side, so 12 plus 45 is 57. Okay, 57. 57 is always equal to 57. That's true. So then in conclusion, therefore, order pair 3 and 5 is a solution. Yes. Okay, the answer is yes, it is a solution. Let's proceed to the next problem, guys. I hope so far you are doing well. Evaluate using the order of operation. Okay, so this is given numbers. We don't know what's going to be the answer. All we have to do is just evaluate. So I hope you guys remember the PEMDAS now. Okay, the PEMDAS. This is all right, so you might see them everywhere. So PEMDAS is just parenthesis, exponent, multiplication or division, addition or subtraction. So one thing you have to be careful now is always you have to go from left, okay, from left to right, okay, from left to right. So as you go from left to right, whatever comes first, for example, multiplication or division, it doesn't really matter, addition or subtraction, but the addition subtraction cannot be done before multiplication and division. The parentheses and the exponents are as well. Okay, sometimes you can do them like as you go the same way, but do not forget this rule. So -3, it doesn't affect anything, so I just leave it like this. Okay, multiplication. All right, the parenthesis 8 plus 3 is gonna give me just 11, right? That's 11. The next one is there is plus, of course, and then -3 square is what? -3 square means -3 times -3, which is definitely positive 9. Okay, multiplied by 3. Okay, so the good news is I have multiplication and division. Just leave that like now. Okay, for now. So let me divide this all. Let me do the bottom part or the denominator. So that's gonna be -2, right? -2 is this -2, and then you multiply that by 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 here. You see 3 minus 1 here is 2, right? Okay, I'm gonna continue the next step. So this is just not a difficult question. All you have to do is be careful. Okay, so let me do this way. I can do this way. So multiply this -33, right? -33, because -3 times 11 is -33, plus what is 9 times 3 here? 9 times 3 is 27, guys. Okay, over, right? -2 times 2 is -4. All right. Now I see a common mistake from students. They try to divide this number to -4 or this number to -4. You cannot do that. Just simply you have to add whatever is on the top or on the numerator. You have to just clean that up. So -33 plus 27 is what? So you have 33 negatives and then you have 27 positives. So the remaining is what? Negative, obviously, right? You have more negatives than these positives, which is -6. Okay, over at the bottom you have -4. Okay, so you have to go ahead and then simplify this. Okay, negative will cancel by negative because negative over negative is just positive. 6 over 4 is going to be 3 over 2. Okay, your last answer will be now 3 over 2. So you can change numbers on your own, and then you can create your own question and then practice if this is not clear for you. Let's keep going. Okay, so far so good. Great. So now look, this is factor completely. Okay, factor completely. All right. So even though there are many ways to factor this one, just I want to introduce, or I want to remind you now here the formula that is a square minus b square. Okay, a square minus b square. This is the difference of two squares. I have two squares, the a square and then the b square. Both of them are squares. So the difference of two squares will give me a plus b. Okay, a plus b, and then a minus b. Okay, so this left side and then this right side are the same. How do I know? Well, they are the same. I can prove them. So simply what I can do is I can FOIL just to check it. A times a is gonna be a square, and then go ahead a with b with minus b again, minus a b, right? And then go ahead the b1, b times a is plus ab. Now this time it is plus. B times negative b is negative b square. Okay, so if you see the middle now, the middle, look at the middle, right? Both of them are the same but different sign. Okay, so both of them will cancel. So this is negative AB plus AB, means they are the same but of different signs, so they cancel out. So I remain with a square minus b square, which is the same as the original one. Okay, once I convinced myself this equation, the left side is the same as the right side, I'm gonna come to this question now. Okay, the question at hand is this. Okay, all I have to do is now I have to first recognize the 36 is a perfect square. Okay, the x is perfect square because it is exponent 2, and then this is 16 perfect square. What does perfect square mean? Well, 36 can be I have a number which is 6 times 6 gonna be 36. Okay, so for 16 the same thing, I have a number which is 4 times 4 is gonna be 16. So what I can do is I try to write these all numbers in A and B form. Okay, so basically um I have to find a representatives of A and B. So let me go ahead, and then for 36 is gonna be just 6, right? Because 6 square is 36, and then for x is gonna be, for x square is gonna be x. Okay, so what I have to do now is be careful. I have to put two of them and then the whole square. So now what I have to think is this 6x the whole square is the same as 36 the whole square, but it helped me to write it down in a square form. Okay, so go ahead and then minus. Well, I have to write this 16 again the same way. So I look for 4 and then square. If you think about this now, this has the same format as like this. Okay, as like this. So that means for the time being, my a is gonna be from this equation the 6x. Okay, the 6x is acting as a. Okay, and then the next one is the 4 is acting as b. Okay, the 4 is acting as b. So if I know that, I just can simply write them in this form. Okay, a and b. Okay, 6x and 4 are acting as a and b. So okay, then so that's gonna be 6x, right, plus, all right, b sorry, plus 4. Now remember, now it's not b anymore, it's I have the 4. Okay, it's the 4. 6 plus 4. Okay, u open parenthesis again, this is multiplied by a minus b. Okay, a minus b is 6x minus 4. Okay, so this is the completely factored form of the 36x squared minus 16. Great. So let's continue. Let's continue to number 6. Okay, number 6. This question is still factoring out using GCF, the greater common factor. Okay, so look at this. We have numbers, number 14, that means integers. We have 48, and then we have 10. Okay, we have these three different numbers, as well as we have the variables R8, R6, and R. Okay, so the variables and numbers go differently when it comes to the GCF. Okay, for numbers, we have to list down the factors of 14, the factors of 48, and the factors of 10. And finally, we will find the GCF. So if you list down that simply, what you have to do is, okay, for 14, for example, okay, you can go this way. All right, for 14, there are numbers 1, 2, 7, and 14. Okay, and for 48, okay, for 48, the numbers are, of course, 1, 2, right, and then 3, 4, all right, 6, 8, 12, 24, and 48. Okay, these are the numbers. Okay, for 10, of course, for 10 I have factors 1, 2, 5, and 10. Okay, now if you look at this, okay, there are many common factors, let's say 1 is common factor, 2 is common factor. In fact, there are not many, just two of them. Okay, two of them. So of these two, the greatest, I have to look for the greatest is just 2. Okay, 2 is the one that I find everywhere, and then that's the greatest of the common factors, not the greatest of the numbers, of the common. You see, the name greatest common factor, the name tells everything. So the greatest common factor. All right, so just what I have to do is now I just pull out to here outside and then open my parenthesis. Well, before that, what I can do is now I just can go ahead and then check about the R8, for the R8, right, and the R6, and the R, because I have these three of them. R is here, R6 is here, R8 is here. So when it comes to the exponents, the exponent, okay, the variable with the least exponent, always the variable with the least exponent is going to be the common factor, okay, the common factor. So who is the variable with the least exponent? With least exponent is R. So it cannot be R8, it cannot be R6. So I'm going to pull out R here, okay. So I'm going to have 2R. Now open parenthesis. Now what can I have here to get 14? Because I have 2 here, that's 7, right? 7 times 2 is 14. But what can I have here, okay, to get R8? So R7. Remember, you have to remember when bases are the same, you add the exponents. So for example, if I have R the 1 times R the 7, okay, this is gonna be R times R. R1 and R7, just take one base and then add the exponent. I have 1 here obviously, and then 1 plus 7 is 8. So that's the rule you have to remember. So then minus, okay, so basically 1 in here, the R is reduced just by 1 because R is outside here. So this is going to be, how can I get 48 when I have 2? Well, obviously that's 24, right? R, how can I get R6 when I have R outside here? Just I have to reduce this one by 1, and then 5 minus, okay, this is 5 because to get 10, 5 times 2 is 10. And then R, because I have R outside, I don't have to put R here. So simply I do like this. So simply this one is the factored form of the given expression using the GCF. Okay, next. The next problem is about the absolute value. Okay, absolute value and inequality. Absolute, all right, absolute value, all right, absolute value and inequality. So fill the correct inequality sign to make the sentence true. Okay, this is the blank space. So but those numbers are in absolute value. First, I want to remind you what is absolute value mean. Okay, absolute value is easily, we don't have to go to complications. So the absolute value is simply the distance from the zero. Okay, so that's the magnitude. So the negative and the positive absolute values are not really important, because any number in the absolute value, for example -2 in the absolute value will give you just 2. Okay, because this is the magnitude without the sign. The negative sign is simply telling me that to the left side of 0. So whether you go to the right side or to the left side, if you go equal distance, is equal distance. Okay, there is no negative distance. So let's say 1, 2. Okay, if somebody jump from here to here versus somebody jump from here to here, it's all the same. The only difference is you are jumping into different directions, but at the end of the day, you cover the same distance. Okay, from this to this. Okay, from 0 to this number versus from 0 to this number is equal distance. Okay, so that's one important concept about absolute value. Okay, now if I have this, then absolute value of 8 is, in fact, this is positive, no doubt for this one. That's gonna be 8, just minus. Absolute value of 2 is just 2, no problem. Okay, so just open. So if we have numbers inside the absolute value, so I can just deal all the numbers at once. Okay, 8 minus 2 is just simply 6. Absolute value of 6, this is gonna be absolute value of 6, and then absolute value of 6 is just 6. Okay, 8 minus 2 is also 6, and then open to 6. So the correct inequality is not greater than, it's not less than. This is gonna be equal, because 6 is equal to 6. So remember, don't forget, this is greater than sign, this is less than sign, this is greater than or equal to sign, and this one is less than or equal to sign. So if you know to do this way in the test, maybe if you see something greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than, equal to, just you have to be careful, and you have to answer accordingly. Okay, the concept is the very important thing, then everything is the same. Nice. So the next one is this picture. First of all, I hope you recognize this kind of graph. This is a quadratic function. Y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3, which is, you remember that, a x squared, hopefully you remember this, bx plus c, right? So we have a, b, and c. So the a in this case, in this given equation, y is equal to x squared, right? minus 2x minus 3. All right, in this case, my a value is, just to revise, is just 1 because I don't have any number in front of x, so that's just 1. And then my b value is negative 2, and then my c value is negative 3. Okay, my c value is negative 3. Now, the question is not asking any of these things, but this is just to revise. The question is, what is the x-intercept, what is the y-intercept, and what is the vertex? So a, all right, x-intercept, okay? As the name indicates, x-intercept means it's nothing. It's the point or points where the graph crosses the x-axis. Okay, so obviously this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, the vertical axis, and the horizontal axis is the x-axis. So if you look at your graph is opening up. So at these 2 points, this point and this point, okay, that's the point where my graph crosses the x-axis. Okay, so in the left side it's negative 1, right? And then in the right side it is 3. These are the x-intercepts. Okay, so b, the y-intercept is similarly easy. Okay, intercept. All right, the y-intercept is simply, as the name indicates, the point where my graph crosses the y-axis, which is this right here, which is negative 3. Okay, negative 3. Okay, that's negative 3. Very good. And then the C is the vertex. Okay, the vertex of a parabola. Okay, the vertex of a parabola is simply the turning point. Okay, the turning point. It could be the deepest or the highest points, depending on how the parabola opens. So in this case, it is opening up. So the deepest point is this one. The graph is not going more than this point. Okay, below this point. So this is the minimum point this graph can reach. So the vertex, okay, always the vertex has to be written in the form of x and y because 2 coordinates. So this is 1 x1 and then y negative 4 x1 y negative 4. Okay, well, the correct way of writing the y-intercept, the x-intercept is also, well, we can just say this way. The y-intercept is this one at x 0. Look at that, that's the x is 0, y is negative 3. If I have to write this in the order pair form, so I can write it this way. The y-intercept is, in fact, this is the right way of writing. So x 0, y negative 3, x 0, y negative 3. Okay, this is the y-intercept. And then the x-intercept is, well, these are the 2 points, but still there is, in the x-intercept, the y value is 0 always. So that means I can write them this way. Okay, so this is x negative 1 means this one when y is equal to 0. So x negative 1, y 0, and okay, x3, y 0. Okay, so this is the perfect way of writing the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and the vertex. Okay, all right, let's continue now. This is now how to sketch or draw the absolute value graph. Okay, this is the absolute value we mentioned already earlier. This is just absolute value. So how can I write, or how can I sketch the absolute value graph? Okay, so you can handle this one in different ways. But I will just give you this one. So f of x, what is f of x mean? F of x is just simply the fancy way of saying y. So this is y is equal to absolute value of x minus 3. Okay, simply something like this. It's the same. So I would recommend to list down the points. Okay, you just make a table. Okay, let me make a table for you. Okay, so I can make a table. All right, so I can make this table. All right, this is my table. This is x, right? It's gonna be y. Okay, so I will just have some couple test numbers. I'm gonna test numbers, maybe 2 positive and 2 negative is the best way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay, let me do 0 here, okay, at the middle. So I can have number 1, number 2, okay, negative 1, negative 2. Okay, this is just good rule of thumb just to try my numbers. So for the first one, when x is 2, what's gonna be the y? Okay, what does that mean? You just go ahead, y, or f of 2, basically f of 2. I can write it this way: f of 2 is equal to, plug in 2 in here. Okay, absolute value of 2 minus 3. Okay, you remember that absolute value of 2 is just 2 minus 3, which is equal to 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So when I have 2, okay, when I have 2, my y value is negative 1. Okay, so follow the same way and fill the table. Okay, and then f of 1, okay, f of just 1 is equal to, that means absolute value of 1 minus 3. All right, absolute value. So this is gonna give me, this is 1 minus 3 is what? 1 minus 3 is minus 2. Okay, so 1 minus 3 is minus 2. This is gonna be minus 2. Look at this now. Okay, when it is 0, f of, right, f of 0, which is equal to absolute value of 0 minus 3, which is 0 minus 3, which is negative 3. Okay, so that's gonna be negative 3. Okay, look now, I'm done about the positive numbers in 0. Let me go to the negative one. What about negative of negative 1? Okay, f of negative 1, which is absolute value of negative 1 minus 3. Okay, so remember, what did I tell you earlier? The absolute value is just simply, when we take it out from the absolute value, it becomes positive. So just 1 minus 1, which minus 3, I'm sorry, which is equal to minus 2. Okay, this is minus 2. Okay, all right, so what about negative 2? F of negative 2. All right, this is equal to absolute value of negative 2 minus just 3. So this is going to be negative 2 is going to be 2. 2 minus 3 is equal to negative 1. Okay, negative 1. I think these are enough. But look at this now. What is your observation? If you observe, what do you observe from this table? From this table, this is negative 3. All right, when x is 0, this is negative 3. And then after that, they are kind of pairing the same, negative 2, negative 2, negative 1, negative 1. Okay, let's go ahead into this um, paper, and then let's see what we can get. When x is 0, where is x 0? X is 0 here, right? When x is 0, y is negative 3. You go vertically and then negative 3. So this is the point. This is your first point. Okay, the first point is this one. All right, now I can go to 1. When x is 1, when x is 1, my y is negative 2. When x is 1, I have negative 2. That means I have here, all right, negative 2. Okay, x1, y negative 2. Okay, and then what else? Negative 1. When x is negative 1, when x is negative 1, and then my y is negative 2. Oh, okay, this is negative 2. Negative 2 is here, okay, here. And then negative 2. When x is negative 2, when x is negative 2, okay, what will happen? My y is negative 1. My y is negative 1, okay? Negative 1 means right here, okay? Right here, look at that. So when x is 2, when x is 2, again, this one, okay? When x is 2, it's negative 1. When x is 2, it's negative 1. It's negative 1 here. Look at that. So if you keep going, let's say if you add one more point, let's say if you have negative 3 here, okay, f of negative 3 is equal to what? Absolute value of negative 3 minus 3. Okay, negative 3 is 3. 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. So that's gonna be, when it is positive 3, it's gonna be this. Okay, if you go the other side, now I know the trend. Okay, this is gonna be 0. Okay, it's gonna go the same way. So I will have for negative 3 0, and then for positive 3 the same thing, 0. Look at now, you see some beautiful V shape. Okay, V shape graph. Okay, this is the V shape graph. All right, I can go that way. I say this is the V shape graph, can go this way. So this is the absolute value graph. So basically, okay, when you see different graphs, you have to able to recognize the absolute value graph is just V shape. Okay, that's a V shape. And then that negative 3 is this the y intercept. Okay, that right here. From that it goes equally like this V shape. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, to the next one. Next one is gonna be number 10. Okay, number 10. Well, number 10 is here. Number 10 is here. The question is, graph the inequality on a number line. Okay, you have the number line here. This is the x-axis number line, and then this order pair is negative infinity to positive 3. So look at now, this is the difference. Okay, this one and this one. What does that mean? This, okay, so when you have these numbers, okay, I mean this bracket, so the bracket is always telling me that whatever the numbers, let's say 2 5, okay, whatever the numbers here are not included, okay, they are not included. You can go as closer as you want, but you cannot touch these 2 points, I mean these 2 numbers, 2 and 5. But this one, the bracket one tells me that, okay, 2 5, if I write like this, in the set, okay, in the second one, in the bracket, the 2 and 5 are included. You can't touch them, okay, in fact they are included, so you can't touch them. All right, so touching a number and then going closer and closer and closer to a number are different things. Okay, so when you look at this, this is the right side, this is the left side. Okay, so in the right side you go to 3. Okay, 3 is included, so I can just do the heavy line, not a bubble. Also, we can treat them like the bubble is similar like this bracket, and then the heavy dot like this is the same as like this. Okay, the bracket. So in the negative side, is going to the negative infinity. All I have to do is just simply draw a line to the left side like this. Okay, to the left side like this. All right, well, this is the heavy line. All right, you go to this way, and then just you can just go all the way. If you want, just put the arrow. This is telling me that this is keep going, keep going, keep going to the infinity. But the main thing is this one. Okay, this one, this heavy or the dot. Okay, so in different ways you can change those. If you want, you can try negative infinity, comma infinity, positive infinity. You can try any numbers. Okay, negative infinity, you can say this way, comma 5, open, just different. You can have your own numbers, and then you can practice on this one. All right, so this is the last question for this part 1 video. All right, this is graph a given linear equation. Okay, remember now, it's good to recognize what kind of graph you are expecting. Okay, like earlier I told you the absolute value graph was just v. For linear equation, you are expecting now a straight line graph. Okay, a straight line graph. And what kind of straight line graph? Is it a positive slope or a negative slope? So first of all, before you write anything, I recommend to write this equation into the formal slope intercept form. What is the slope intercept form? All right, so you have 3y is equal to x plus 9. Okay, so you have to solve for y, so that you will have y is equal to mx plus b form. Okay, you have to recognize this is the slope intercept form. So to do so, all you have to do is you divide both sides by -3, right? By -3, remember. So this will cancel, and then you will have at the end y is equal to, well, there is one coefficient here. I can write this one further, -1/3, and I have x. So this negative is for both the plus and then the here in front of the x. So plus minus is going to be minus here. 9 divided by 3 is just 3. Okay, 3. Now look at that. This is similar like this. So remember, the m is the slope. Okay, the m is the slope, which is the -1/3. Okay, and then you have to remember the definition of slope. It is the rise. Okay, if the rise, the raise. Okay, the raise over run. Okay, rise over run. Okay, so you're going up 1 unit, and then you go horizontally 3 unit. This is basically mean delta y over delta x. Okay, change in y over change in x. Okay, the x is the run, the y is the rise. Okay, and then the b, your b is the y-intercept, which is the -3. And you remember, y-intercept is the point where my graph touches the y-axis. Okay, the y-axis. So all I have to do is I start with the y-intercept. Okay, the y-intercept, where is my y-intercept? That's the -3 right here. Okay, this is right here. All right, so in this case you don't need to have a table or something. Okay, if you want you can still make a table. Okay, you can have x and y and then check the numbers, give the numbers and go ahead, but you don't need to do so. All right, so all I have to do is I know my slope is -1/3. That means I rise 1 and then 3 horizontally. So I can rise or uh, go lower down. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, because you have to go both ways anyway. So look, if I go, let's say for example -1, it will take me here, right, and then go horizontally 3, 1 2 3, and I end up here. Okay, the same way from that point I go down 1 and then 1 2 3. Okay, these are enough points to this side. All right, go the same way. I cannot go down because remember, I remember this is the straight line graph. So from this, I go 1 unit up and then 1, 2, 3 units horizontally. From that again, 1 units up and then 1, 2, 3 horizontally. So this is more than enough to draw or to sketch my graph. Okay, to draw a straight line graph, at least 2 points are necessary. So but I have this now 5 points now, so I have to be careful, and then just you gotta connect your points like this. Okay, your points like this, your points like this. This is your graph. So this is a negative slope. All right, it's a negative slope, that's why it is going this way. Okay, and then if we have a positive slope, maybe in your test you can have positive slope or somewhere else the positive slope. This I want to remind you, this one, the positive slope is something going this way. Both of them are straight line, but the way how they are rising and falling are just different. So this is the negative slope is going this way. Okay, the negative inclination, and this is just the positive inclination. And then if it is horizontal, there's no slope. There's the slope of this one, this kind of straight line is 0. So I also encourage you to revise things like this. Okay, all right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I think this is enough for the first part. I will come with the second part of the review test. Have a great day. Thank you very much.